Daniel stepped off the transport ship with tired eyes. He had been searching for work across different colonies, but jobs were rare for humans in alien lands. When he heard about an alien settlement that was hiring outsiders, he thought it was his chance. The settlement looked strange. The buildings were made of stone and glowing crystal. Tall alien guards watched him as he entered. Their eyes followed him with curiosity, but none spoke. Daniel felt small among them. Yet he walked forward, bravely at the center. An elder alien in long robes greeted him. The elder's skin shimmered blue and his voice was deep like thunder. "Welcome, human," the elder said. "We are pleased you accepted the offer." Daniel nodded politely, though he noticed the elder never explained what the real work was. They led him to a hall where many aliens gathered. They stared at him, as if he was special. Some smiled, others whispered. Daniel shifted uncomfortably. Why were they acting like he was more than just a worker? The elder finally spoke. "You will live here. You will be treated with respect. Your job is important for our people's survival." The words sounded heavy, but still no clear detail was given. Daniel wanted to ask questions, but the eyes of the crowd made his throat dry. Later he was shown his living quarters. The room was clean but plain. A bed, a table, and a window looking out over the settlement. Strange symbols were carved into the walls. Daniel tried to ignore the uneasy feeling in his chest. That evening, he was brought food. The meal smelled rich, different from human food. A young alien woman served it silently. She looked at him with wide eyes, almost fearful. Before Daniel could speak to her, she quickly left the room. He ate slowly, wondering, why did she act like that? Why was everyone so nervous around him? The food tasted good, but it carried a faint, bitter aftertaste. Still, hunger made him finish the plate. Night fell, and the settlement grew quiet. Daniel lay on the bed, listening to the distant hum of alien machines. He wanted to believe this was just a simple job. Maybe mining, maybe construction. But deep inside, a voice whispered that something was wrong. He tried to sleep, but strange sounds reached his ears. Outside his door, 2 guards spoke in low voices. Daniel pressed his ear closer. "Do you think he knows yet?" One guard whispered. "No, the elder will reveal the truth at the right time." The other replied, "For now, let him rest. He is the chosen one." Daniel's heart raced. Chosen one? For what? He stepped back quickly when the guards moved. Afraid they might sense he was listening, he sat on the bed, wide awake now. Hours passed before his eyes finally closed. His dreams were filled with strange visions. He saw alien children running in the fields. He saw himself surrounded by women. With pleading eyes, he heard the elder's voice echoing, "You are the hope of our kind." Daniel woke with sweat on his forehead. The dream felt too real. His chest was heavy. He looked at the locked door. They had locked him inside from the outside. He stood at the window and gazed at the alien village glowing under the stars. Everyone had welcomed him warmly, but why did it all feel like a cage? He whispered to himself, "What job did I really accept?" And in the silence, the settlement seemed to whisper back, as if watching his every move. Daniel woke up to a loud knock on his door. The lock clicked open from the outside, and 2 guards entered. They carried long spears that glowed faintly. Their faces were calm but strict. "Come with us," one of them said. Daniel nodded slowly, his body stiff. They guided him through narrow stone halls until they reached a chamber. Inside, the elder and several alien priests stood in a circle. Strange smoke rose from bowls on the floor, filling the air with a sweet but heavy scent. Daniel coughed lightly, feeling dizzy. The elder raised his hands. "Human, there are rules you must follow in our settlement," he said. His voice was deep and commanding. The priests nodded behind him. Daniel listened carefully, hoping this time he would finally understand his job. "You must never leave your quarters. At night," the elder began. "You must only eat the food we provide, and you must obey when the call comes." The words sounded like law, not suggestion. Daniel frowned. "But what work do I actually do?" he asked. The elder's eyes narrowed. You will know when it is time. Daniel felt anger rise inside him. He wanted a straight answer, but the stares of the priests froze his tongue. They looked at him as if he was both a guest and a prisoner. After the meeting, he was taken to the dining hall. Many alien women worked there preparing meals. They glanced at him secretly, whispering to each other. Daniel noticed their faces carried both curiosity and sadness. When his eyes met theirs, they quickly turned away. One older woman approached and placed a bowl in front of him. She leaned closer and whispered, "Do not fight the rules. It is safer that way." Then she hurried off before the guards noticed. The food looked the same as last night, rich and strange. He forced himself to eat, but his mind kept spinning. Why such strange rules? Why treat him with so much care, yet so much control? After his meal, the guards escorted him outside to walk around the settlement. The sky was bright purple with 2 suns above. Alien children ran past, laughing. Daniel almost smiled. For a moment it looked normal, but the guards' constant presence reminded him he was being watched. As he walked, he saw a large building with sealed doors. Strange markings covered its surface. He paused, but one guard tapped his shoulder. "Not for you," the guard said. Daniel nodded and moved on, but his curiosity grew stronger. That night, Daniel sat in his locked room again, staring at the strange symbols on the walls. They glowed faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. He pressed his hand against them and felt warmth, as if the walls themselves were alive. Outside, he heard footsteps again. 2 priests spoke quietly near his door. "He is strong," one whispered. "Better than the last." "Yes," the other agreed. "This time it will succeed. Our future depends on him." Daniel's chest tightened. What did they mean by last? Had there been other humans before him? What happened to them? He backed away from the door, fear crawling through him. Later he lay on his bed, sleep far away from his eyes. Suddenly, the door creaked. A shadow slipped inside. It was the same young alien woman who had served him food before. She held a finger to her lips. "Quiet," she whispered. Daniel sat up, surprised. "Why are you here?" he whispered back. She looked around nervously. "I should not be here, but you must know. The rules are not for your safety. They are for control. They do not want you to discover the truth." Her voice trembled. "When the time comes, they will take you. You cannot refuse." Before Daniel could ask more, she rushed out, closing the door silently behind her. He sat frozen, heart racing. The words echoed in his mind. "They will take you." He looked out the window again at the glowing alien village. The air outside was silent, too silent. Every shadow seemed to watch him. Every whisper seemed to know his name. Daniel clenched his fists. He had thought he was coming here for honest work, but now he felt like a trapped animal waiting for something he did not understand. The rules were not protecting him. They were chains, invisible but unbreakable. And in that silence, Daniel realized the settlement had a plan for him, one that he might not survive. The next morning, Daniel was led out again by the guards, his eyes burned from lack of sleep. The young alien girl's warning from last night kept echoing in his head. "They will take you. You cannot refuse." He walked through the settlement with a heavy heart. The streets were busy. Aliens moved with purpose, but whenever their eyes fell on Daniel, they froze. They bowed slightly, as if he was holy. Daniel hated the attention. He was just a man, not some chosen figure. The elder appeared once more, standing tall with his shimmering robe. "You will stay within the marked boundaries today," he said. "There are places forbidden to you." Daniel nodded, but inside his mind burned with questions. He wanted answers, he wanted truth. Later that evening, after being escorted back to his locked quarters, Daniel made a decision. He would not sit and wait like a prisoner. He pressed his ear to the wall, listening for the guards. When their steps faded, he pushed gently against the window. To his relief, it slid open. The air outside was cool. Stars shimmered above. Daniel climbed out carefully, dropping onto the ground below. He crouched low and moved through the shadows. His heart raced. He felt alive, but also terrified. He followed the path toward the large sealed building he had seen before, the one covered with markings. Something inside pulled him there. His steps were silent, though his chest pounded like drums. Near the building, Daniel stopped. He heard voices. Several priests were gathered near the door. They spoke in low tones. Daniel pressed himself against the wall and listened. "Our species is dying," one priest said. His voice was filled with sorrow. "No children for 50 cycles, our wombs are empty, our blood is weak. Yet the human is strong." Another replied, "The prophecy was true, only through him can new life begin." Daniel's stomach dropped, his breath caught in his throat. Was this the truth? Was this the reason they brought him here? Not for work, but for something far worse. Another priest spoke. "The last attempt failed. The human did not survive the union. But this one is different. He must be the one. He must give us children." Daniel's body froze, his legs shook. Union? Give children? The words twisted his mind. They wanted him not as a worker, but as breeding stock. He felt sick. A sudden snap of twigs echoed behind him. Daniel turned quickly, his eyes locked with a shadow. Someone had been watching him. His breath stopped. Was it a guard, or the same girl from before? The figure stepped into the faint light. It was the young alien woman, her eyes wide, her face pale. She motioned for silence and pulled him into the darkness. "You fool," she whispered urgently. "If they find you here, you will vanish like the others. Do you want to die?" Daniel grabbed her arm, his voice low and desperate. "Tell me the truth. Is it real? Do they want me to make children?" She looked down, shame filling her voice. "Yes, that is why you are here. Our people cannot give life anymore. Only humans can. You are not the first they brought, but the others. None lived long enough." The words stabbed Daniel like knives, his heart pounded wildly. He had walked into a trap, a job that was never a job. It was a cage of destiny built on lies. He clenched his fists. "I will not be used like this," he said, his voice shaking with anger. The girl's eyes softened. "You have no choice. They will force you. And when they do, it will break you, like it broke the others." Her hand trembled as she touched his arm. "But maybe together we can find a way." Before Daniel could reply, heavy footsteps thundered nearby. Torches flickered. Guards were approaching. The girl pushed him toward a side tunnel carved into the stone. "Go," she whispered. "Hide. I will distract them." Daniel hesitated, but the fear of capture made him obey. He slipped into the tunnel's shadows, his heart slamming in his chest. From the darkness, he heard the guards shouting, "Where is he? The human cannot wander. Find him." Daniel pressed against the cold wall, barely breathing. His mind burned with the truth he had learned. He was not a worker, not a guest, but a tool, a weapon of survival. And now the secret was clear. His life was not his own. Daniel waited. In the shadows of the tunnel, his chest rose and fell fast. His hands were shaking. The words of the priests echoed in his mind. The last human did not survive. This one must give us children. The truth was heavy, and it burned inside him like fire. The footsteps of the guards faded slowly. The young alien girl appeared again, slipping quietly into the tunnel. Her breathing was quick, her face pale. "You should not have followed them," she whispered. "Now you know too much." Daniel grabbed her arm gently but firmly. "Tell me everything," he demanded. "Why me? Why bring humans here? What do they do with us?" The girl's eyes filled with pain. "My name is Solari," she said softly. "I am one of the chosen females. They keep us apart from the others. They prepare us for you." Her voice cracked. "I do not want this. I never did." Daniel felt his heart twist. She was not his enemy. She was a prisoner too. "And if I refuse?" he asked, his voice low and hard. Solari's face darkened. "Then they will force you. And if you fight, they will kill you." They believe their survival is worth any cost. Before Daniel could speak, torches flared at the tunnel entrance. Guards stormed in. Their glowing spears lit the stone walls. Solari gasped as strong hands pulled her away. "No!" she cried. "Leave him!" Daniel struggled, but spears pressed against his chest. He was dragged back into the main square. A crowd had gathered. Priests and elders stood at the front, their eyes cold and sharp. The elder's deep voice shook the air. "You disobeyed our rules. You walked where you were forbidden. You listened to words not meant for you." His eyes blazed. "You are ours, human. You cannot run from your duty." Daniel's anger burst. His voice carried across the square. "I came here for work, not to be your prisoner. I will not be your tool. I am not some animal to breed for your survival." A loud gasp rippled through the crowd. The priest looked shocked at his defiance, but the elder only smiled coldly. "Bravery," he said. "That is why you will succeed, where others failed. You were not brought here for labor. You were brought here for destiny." Solari struggled in the grip of the guards. Tears filled her eyes as she cried out, "Elder, please do not force this. It is wrong. It is cruel." The elder's gaze fell on her, hard and merciless. "You are chosen, Solari. You should be honored. Without this union, our people will die." Daniel's fists clenched. He could not stand the sight of her pain. "If you force her, you are no better than tyrants," he shouted. "You talk of survival, but you are killing freedom. You are killing souls." For a moment, silence filled the air. The younger aliens in the crowd shifted uneasily. Some looked down, ashamed. Others whispered nervously. The cracks in their obedience showed, but the priests struck their staffs against the ground. "The human must obey," they chanted. "The human must fulfill his duty." The voices boomed, drowning out doubt. The elder raised his hand. "Enough," he said. "Daniel, tomorrow you will stand before the sacred chamber. The union will begin, and if you resist, you will die." Daniel glared at him, fire burning in his eyes. "Then I would rather die free than live as your slave." The crowd gasped again. The elder's smile faded. His voice turned dark. "You will learn, human. In time you will kneel. All do." The sunk guards shoved Daniel back toward his quarters. Solari was dragged in the opposite direction. Her eyes locked with his, desperate and full of fear. She whispered one word before disappearing. "Tonight." Back in his locked room, Daniel paced like a caged beast. His mind raced. He knew Solari meant something. An escape. A chance. He pressed his hand against the glowing symbols on the wall. They pulsed under his touch like a heartbeat. The walls felt alive, as if watching him. Hours crawled by until at last the lock clicked again. The door opened slightly. A small object slid through. A key. Daniel picked it up with trembling hands. His heart pounded as her whisper from the square echoed again. "Tonight." Daniel sat in the dim light of his locked quarters. The small key in his hand felt heavier than any weapon. His heart pounded as he stared at it. Solari's whisper from earlier still rang in his ears. Tonight. It was the only chance he might have. The walls around him glowed faintly with the strange symbols, their pulsing rhythm almost mocking. He paced the floor, torn between choices. If he used the key and tried to escape, the entire settlement would hunt him. If he stayed, he would be forced into the union, a fate worse than death. He clenched his fists, sweat dripping from his brow. "I will not let them decide for me," he whispered to himself. But a darker thought crawled into his mind. What if Solari was leading him into a trap? What if the key was only a test from the elders to see if he would betray the rules? Before doubt could consume him, a faint sound came from outside. A gentle tap against his window. Daniel rushed to it and found Solari's pale face in the moonlight, her eyes wide, filled with fear yet also courage. She motioned for him to open it with shaking hands. Daniel unlocked the door with the key. The lock clicked softly. He slipped out into the night. The air was sharp and cool. Stars glittered above. The settlement was quiet. Too quiet. Solari grabbed his arm. "Follow me quickly." she whispered. They moved through dark alleys, Solari guiding him like a shadow. Her steps were silent, her face tense. There is a hidden path beyond the temple, she explained. Few know of it. If we reach it, we can escape. Daniel's mind whirled. And what then? Where do we go? Her voice trembled. Anywhere but here. Freedom is better than this cage. I would rather die running than live as their prisoner. Her words struck deep inside Daniel. He realized she too was trapped, her future stolen by her own people. Their suffering was the same. That truth made his choice clearer. But fate had other plans. As they neared the temple, torches suddenly flared. Guards emerged from the shadows. Their glowing spears pointed straight at them. Daniel's breath stopped. The elder stepped forward, his shimmering robe catching the torchlight. Did you truly think you could flee, human? He boomed. And you, Solari, betraying your own blood? Shameful. Solari's eyes filled with tears, but her voice did not shake. I will not be part of this lie, she said firmly. We are not cattle. He is not your slave. I refuse. The elder's face turned cold as ice. You refuse the survival of your people? Then you choose death. He raised his hand and the guards closed in. Daniel's heart burned with rage. He stepped in front of Solari. If you want her, you go through me, he said. His voice shook, but his eyes blazed. The elder stared at him, amused yet deadly. You have spirit, human, but spirit cannot defy destiny. Tomorrow you will enter the chamber. You will fulfill your duty, or your blood will stain these stones. Daniel's fists clenched. You can kill me, but you cannot break me, he spat. His words carried across the square. The younger aliens. In the crowd shifted. Their whispers grew louder. Some looked troubled, as if Daniel's courage was awakening something inside them. But the priest pounded their staffs, chanting, The human must obey. The human must obey. The sound echoed like thunder, drowning out the whispers. The elder raised his arm. Take him back to his quarters. Lock him. Tomorrow, the choice will be taken from him. Guards forced Daniel back. Solari was dragged in the opposite direction. Her cry tore through the night. Daniel, she screamed. Her voice broke. Do not give in. Daniel struggled, his body aching, but the spears kept him down. The door slammed shut behind him once more. The key ripped from his hand. He fell to the floor, his heart pounding with fury. Alone in the silence, Daniel stared at the ceiling, his breath ragged. He had made his choice. He would not kneel, he would not obey. If tomorrow was to be his end, then he would meet it standing, not broken, but deep. Inside, another voice whispered, Perhaps there is still a way. The night felt endless. Daniel sat on the floor of his locked quarters. His breath was heavy, his hands trembling. Tomorrow they would drag him into the sacred chamber. Tomorrow his life would no longer be his own. He could not let that happen. The memory of Solari's scream haunted him. Do not give in. Her voice echoed in his head like a flame in the darkness. He clenched his fists. He had to find her. He had to break free. Suddenly, a faint scrape came from the wall behind his bed. Daniel turned sharply. The glowing symbols on the stone flickered as if alive. A small section of the wall shifted, and Solari crawled through a hidden passage. Her face pale, her clothes torn, but her eyes blazing with determination. You are not safe here, she whispered. I escaped the guards, but they will search for me soon. We must leave now, before dawn. Daniel stood quickly. How? The settlement is surrounded. Guards are everywhere. Solari held up a crystal-shaped device glowing faintly. This is a disruptor, she explained. It will confuse the guards' sensors for a short time. It is dangerous, but it is our only chance. Without another word, she led him into the hidden passage. The tunnel was narrow and dark. The sound of dripping water echoed. Daniel's heart raced with every step. His fear mixed with hope. As they moved deeper, Solari spoke in a trembling voice. I was chosen to be part of this ritual since I was a child. They told me it was sacred, but I knew it was slavery. I knew it was wrong. When I saw you, I realized you were just as trapped as me. Daniel's chest tightened. He placed a hand on her shoulder. Then we will fight it together. No one owns us, not them. Not anyone. At the end of the tunnel, they reached a grate. Beyond it lay the forest. Outside the settlement, the sky was painted with the pale light of two moons. Solari pressed the disruptor against the grate. It hummed and cracked with sparks. The metal dissolved into ash, but the sound carried. Alarms blared across the settlement. Red lights flashed, voices shouted in the distance. The guards were already searching. "Run!" Solari cried, grabbing Daniel's hand. They sprinted into the forest. The ground was uneven, roots twisted beneath their feet. The trees glowed faintly with alien moss. Every shadow seemed alive. Behind them, the horns of the guards roared. Torches flickered through the trees. Spears glowed like fireflies hunting them. Daniel's lungs burned, but he pushed forward, dragging Solari when she stumbled. They reached a stream, the water glowing faint blue under the moons. "Across," Daniel said. They splashed through, their legs heavy. The cold water bit into their skin, but it hid their tracks. On the far side, Solari collapsed, gasping. Daniel pulled her up. "No stopping. They're close," he urged. But her eyes were wide with fear. Staring behind him, Daniel turned and froze. A group of priests stood on the opposite bank, their staffs raised high, glowing with energy. The elder himself was among them, his eyes burning like fire. "You cannot escape fate, human," the elder's voice thundered across the water. "You are ours, you belong to us." Daniel's rage exploded. "I belong to no one," he shouted back. His voice echoed through the forest. He grabbed a fallen branch, holding it like a weapon. The elder laughed darkly. "You think you can fight destiny with a stick? You are foolish, but bravery will not save you." Solari pressed the disruptor into Daniel's hand. "Use it," she whispered. "Throw it at them." Daniel hurled the glowing crystal into the stream. The water erupted in a flash of light. Energy surged across the bank. The priests screamed as their staffs flickered and died. The elder staggered back, fury twisting his face. "Run!" Daniel shouted, pulling Solari with him. They tore through the forest, branches ripping at their skin, their breath ragged. The alarm bells faded behind them. The forest swallowed them whole. Finally, they stumbled into a clearing. Above them, the sky opened wide, and on the horizon the faint glow of ships approached. Solari's eyes widened. "Those are not priests' ships," she whispered. "They look different." Daniel's chest heaved. His hope rose, but fear twisted with it. Were these ships salvation or another trap? Daniel and Solari stood in the clearing, their bodies trembling with exhaustion. The night sky above them burned with the glow of approaching ships. The air shook with the deep hum of engines. Daniel's chest filled with both hope and dread. Solari gripped his arm, her voice tight. "If those are the Elder's reinforcements, we are finished." Daniel shook his head, his eyes locked on the ships. "No, they are different, Sleeker. Faster, not the same as the settlement's craft." His heart pounded. "But who are they?" The forest behind them roared with angry voices. Torches blazed. The priests and guards were close. The elder's voice thundered across the trees. "You cannot run forever, human. Surrender, and your suffering will be less." Daniel shouted back, "I am not yours, and neither is she." His voice carried like fire. The ships descended, breaking the silence with a rush of wind. Dust swirled across the clearing. Daniel shielded his eyes. Solari held tight to his hand. The first ship landed, its ramp opening slowly. Armed figures stepped out. Their armor was dark silver, their eyes glowing faintly under helmets. But their voices, when they spoke, were firm and calm. "Human, step forward. We have been watching. We know what they planned for you." Daniel froze. "Who are you?" he demanded. One of the armored figures removed their helmet, revealing a young alien face different from the priest's. Her skin shimmered softly, her eyes bright with defiance. "We are the free ones," she said. "We broke away from the council. Years ago, we fight their lies, we fight their slavery," Solari gasped. "The rebellion?" The woman nodded. "Yes, and you human are proof of their cruelty. They have taken others before you, they never told you, but we know. We saw them die." Daniel's fists tightened. His anger flared. "Then help us. Help me free Solari. Help me end this." Before the woman could answer, the elder and his priests burst into the clearing. Their staffs blazed with energy. Traitors, the elder roared. You side with the human, you doom us all. The rebels raised their weapons. The air crackled with tension. Daniel stepped forward, his body shaking, but his voice steady. No, Elder. You doomed yourselves the moment you chose chains over freedom. You call this survival, but it is only cruelty. The Elder's eyes burned with rage. You dare speak of freedom when our bloodline dies? Without you, human, we fade into dust. You are not a man here, you are our last hope. Daniel's voice rose above the chaos. Hope built on slavery is no hope at all. If you truly want a future, it cannot be built on the suffering of others. For a moment silence fell. The younger aliens among the priests lowered their staffs slightly, their faces filled with doubt. Solari's eyes shimmered with tears as she whispered, They are listening. But the elder screamed in fury, Enough! Kill them all! Energy flared from his staff. A blast of light shot toward Daniel. Solari pushed him aside. The beam scorching the ground where he stood, Daniel's rage erupted. He grabbed the fallen branch he had carried before, charging forward. The rebels fired their weapons, beams of light striking the priests. The clearing exploded into chaos. Daniel reached the elder, their eyes locked. The elder swung his staff. Daniel ducked, slamming the branch against the elder's chest. The staff flew from his hands, crashing. To the ground, sparks died in the dirt. The elder fell to his knees, his voice bitter. Without you, we will vanish, human. You destroy us. Daniel stood over him, breathing hard. No, elder. You destroyed yourselves when you chose to treat life as a cage. The rebels surrounded the remaining priests. Their weapons hummed. The priests dropped their staffs one by one. The crowd of guards wavered, then fell back. Solari stumbled to Daniel's side, her face pale but her spirit unbroken. She touched his arm. It is over, she whispered. Daniel looked around the clearing. The torches burned low. The forest was quiet again. He raised his voice to the watching crowd. Listen to me. I am not your slave. I am not your tool. I am a man. And she is not your property. She is free. The younger aliens bowed their heads. Some whispered in agreement. The rebellion had begun. The elder was dragged away, defeated, his voice fading into silence. Solari leaned against Daniel, her eyes searching his. Now that we are free, what will you choose? Daniel looked at her, his heart steady at last. I choose freedom, he said softly, for both of us. Above them, the rebel ships lit the night sky. The future was uncertain, but for the first time since his arrival, Daniel felt hope.